Hello? There I am looking at myself again, sitting here at my desk in the middle of the night, reading in the Bible, and talking to myself. Now, when I first sat down, I was going to read in chapter 8 of Proverbs, and I started doing it, and I was reading. I've been reading here for quite a while. And it led me back to the beginning of Proverbs. And from there, it ricocheted me back to the book of Psalms. And I went to Psalm 14. And I have to read some in Psalm 14. When I first read it, it was talking about me. It was the first time I read this book. I had no knowledge of God. I was a complete fool, a jerk. And it proved it by some of the stuff I read. And there's a lot of people today, just like I was back in the 1970s. Anyway, God took care of all that stuff. I ended up with a wife and a whole bunch of kids. And I'm still cooking, man. I'm still alive. This is Psalm 14, verse 1. And at the heading of this chapter, they got a sentence up here. The corruption of the natural man. I got to put a doofloppy in here so I don't lose my spot in Proverbs. Verse 1, chapter, or Psalm 14. Psalm 14. Now in the Psalms, there's 150 of these things. And some of them flow together, and others are standalone all by themselves. This is God telling me, and He's probably telling a whole bunch of other people that are listening. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. That's what I was saying. Now, back in my younger days, I had a job where I had to stay in hotels and motels all over this country. I was so rotten back in them days. As soon as I walked into the room, I would go to that little nightstand next to the bed, and sometimes on top of it, and other times in the drawer, was the Bible. It was placed there by the Gideons. If you haven't heard about the Gideons, you ought to look that up. I used to take that book and sling it under the bed. All right? Now, why did I do that? I have no idea. But I hated the thought of God. I said, there's no such thing as God. I was wrong, because one day on the New York Thruway, He revealed Himself to me, and He did it in such a way that He left no room for doubt. Let me get into this Psalm 14 here. Verse 1 again. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. We're talking about fools here who deny God. And that's happening in abundance throughout the earth. And unfortunately, America is like on one of them big speed trains that goes 200 miles an hour down the track. heading in the wrong direction. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men. Now keep in mind, one day he told Noah to build an ark or a big boat because he was going to bring a flood on the earth, right? Why? Because of all the evil. The place was rampant with evil. There was only a few people that were actually good enough to be saved. Noah and his family. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. If they understood anything, and if they did they try to find God? Now, I've said many times, those who diligently seek Him, not for a bad reason, but for a good reason, will find God. That's His promise. They are all gone aside. This is God talking about the people back then. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Now, I'm reading from the Bible. These are not my words. This is God talking to you and using my mouth to do it. And I'm happy to do it. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? That's a question mark after that. And I was saying, are you stupid? Yeah. Who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord. They don't seek Lord. They only seek to destroy others. Now, we could talk about the whole earth, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm talking about America. That's what's happening here. There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Those people that were seeking to do harm to so many people, they were aware that people were searching for God and they were trying to kill him. Now, the Muslim folks who are killing each other, Muslims killing Muslims in other countries, they also want to do it here because there were a whole bunch of Muslims who didn't want to do all that Allah stuff. They wanted to be godly people. They wanted to do the right thing. They were looking for righteous. They were looking for God. But the evil ones are preventing it from happening. Is that happening today? You bet. Just flip your TV on. Ye have ashamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. That's the evil people doing the bad stuff to the good people. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion, when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Now, that particular spot right there, they're talking about what happened previously in this book to the folks. You know, and he's saying, oh, wow, it's going to be a good day, a happy day when that changes. You know something? That was 2,000 years ago. And it's worse today. Wow. I started reading in a place where I wasn't going to. Now I'm going to flip over to Proverbs. I was going to go to Proverbs 8. But I have to go back to the first chapter. And in the book of Proverbs, there are 31 chapters. And we're going to start right at the beginning. I'm reading this because there are many people that do not read this that have the opportunity, but they have the opportunity also to hear it. And others can't get that opportunity because of where they live. But maybe they get this internet stuff here and they can hear what I'm saying. Because I just sit here and talk to myself on this little tablet. And a friend of mine, my techie I call him, he does his wonders and he sends it out in the internet world there. And other people have opportunity to hear the word of God. And I'm reading it. The book of Proverbs. Now, right in the front, it says where this came from. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. That's who it is. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. You want to find God and know about Him? Read this book. To give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear. I wasn't wise in the beginning, but I wasn't reading this book. When I first started reading the book, that's when it began. And that was, let me see when that was. Let's see, 10, 20, 30. Is that right? That's over 40 years ago. Wow. And I still like reading this stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's new every day. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity. To give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. Those are people that put one foot in front of the other and they continue on that path and they stay on it. It's not an easy road to do, but with God's help, it can be done. Verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Now, I'm not talking like being afraid of a rabid dog or something like that. This is a different kind of fear. This is a fear that, wow, this is awesome. But it's not bad. It's good. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But fools, that's where I was, despise wisdom and instruction. I had good counsel from people that tried to change me when I was younger, and I just turned my back on it. I'm so sorry I did that. My son, now this is Solomon speaking here, right? My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Don't do it. Don't give in. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. we shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. Doesn't that sound like what's happening in America today? This guy over here does all the work and everybody else takes it and distributes it to the people who don't work. So they all have one purse. Huh? God here says, fools. He calls them fools. And just plain evil. And here's what God tells you. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. And they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Just like what I was saying, man. And that's what's going on in the earth. And America is heading full speed towards all that stuff. Once again, I tell you, prepare to defend thyself, because it's coming. Get yourself some guns and learn how to use them properly and safely. And join a good gun club where there are good people that will teach you how to do something the right way. Learn how to hunt, store up food, water, and safety items, ammunition, generators, gasoline, propane, stuff like that. You need to do all that stuff. And join the NRA. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. In other words, it's all out there. If you want to learn something good, it's out there to be found. You just have to do it. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Now, there's a question mark after that one there, and I'm getting close to where I need to push this button. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. This is God telling you right now that he will reveal himself to you if you diligently seek him. Put this word in your brain so he can bring it to your remembrance. All right, I'm going to knock this off. Just take a second and I'll come right back.